Remaining couple of minutes, Senator McKenzie.
Thank you so much. I want to go to community engagement. How many FTEs do you currently employ for community engagement and consultation?
Just a moment, Senator.
You're right.
I may have to take that on notice. I beg your pardon. In the total of the FTE for community engagement, I will have to take on notice. I do have the total of our FTE for our NCIS, our Noise Complaint and Information Service. I can give you an approximate. It's approximately 10 staff in our community engagement area who are just focused on community engagement. We employ a further 7 full-time personnel in our Noise Complaint and Information Service, and we currently have 2 contractors supporting that work to help bolster our response times.
So the 2 contractors,
yep.
How many staff do they have?
I beg your pardon, they're 2 contract FTE, two individuals being contracted.
Right, not
yes.
2 contracts where we're subcontracting to another group of people. So how much are we spending on consultants and community engagement services?
Throughout 2023, the expenditure I can give you for our Brisbane activities. The total spend in relation to Brisbane was $373,017. I can give you some breakdown on that if you wish.
On notice will be fine for that. I just want to quickly, in the time left, go to the Crosswind limit at Sydney Airport. You're aware of the calls to increase that limit for aircraft landing and departing Sydney. Supported by Virgin, Qantas, Jetstar, QantasLink, Express Freighters, Rex, the RFTS, and it's endorsed by the airport. Yes?
Senator, I'm happy to answer that one. Yes, I'm not aware of it being endorsed by all of the entities you've just said, but I'm certainly aware that there is strong support from Qantas and Virgin and Rex.
Qantas, Virgin and Rex. Is it endorsed by Sydney Airport?
I'm not aware of that, no.
Okay. Thank you. A safety assessment in relation to this proposal was undertaken and concluded that increasing the limit to 25 knots at Sydney Airport, and I quote, poses no change in risk level to the current 20-knot crosswind limit and therefore is at an equivalent level of safety. Do you agree with that assessment?
Senator, I'm not familiar with that assessment. What I can say is that Qantas and Virgin approached Airservices throughout the course of last year, and we've recently commenced some work with them to jointly scope and engage a contractor to help us to undertake an appropriate safety assessment to submit to CASA, the Civil Aviation Safety Authority, for their consideration. We're certainly aware that at other airports, both domestically and internationally, it's permissible to land with a greater crosswind limit than is the case when we have another runway available to us. The rule set that we must work to is that where there is another runway and the crosswind is greater than 20 knots, we must, not may, we must use that. And so that's the situation we find ourselves in. We think that there can be...
Is that fit for purpose with today's tech and...
I think the fact that we're engaging with Qantas and Virgin to develop a safety case is evidence that we think it's certainly worth exploring. I would add that we are very mindful that any increase in crosswind allowance can potentially have an impact on the use of runways at Sydney, and that could impact the long-term operating plan noise sharing. And so we want to make sure that we can satisfy our obligations. We have a direction from the Minister to implement long-term operating plan, and and so we need to make sure that we're able to adequately deliver on those obligations.
What's your understanding that changing these crosswind limits would have on the cancellation and delays in and out of Sydney?
I think the potential used in periods where there is high demand, it could be very beneficial. That's our expectation. That's why we're working with industry on this. Equally, if it were to be used all the time and only in relation to the parallel runways, we would have a significant concern about that because it would undermine our obligations to deliver noise sharing. So its use, I guess I'm saying, should be limited to significant demand periods.
Like today. Have you got any updates for the committee before we break for afternoon tea on the situation in Sydney?
No, I don't, Senator.
We're going to come back afterwards. It would be fantastic if you could actually spend 15 minutes finding out what the impact has been, because I'll come back with some more questions on that. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.